All right, so I'm gonna go over the superhero activity from yesterday. Okay, we just got done watching the Boy with the Incredible Brain. It's interesting stuff here. So let's start over with you, Hannah. Superhero number one. What do you got? Vision Man. Okay. Vision Man.
I did that he can predict the future. And he fell and pointed his head with the cerebellum. And I said, I just said, he got into a fight, fell, hit his head off the patio, and when he woke up, he was able to predict what was going to happen later on that day.
Wow. Wow. So this is part of his occipital lobe, you said, right? Cerebellum. Okay. All right. So his occipital lobe affected by this, and he can see into the future. All right. Cool. Go ahead. Do you have another one here? Superhero two?
I have the Dizzy Man.
Dizzy Man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Is that everything can spin again with the cerebellum.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. He made a bad guy. He makes bad guys spin, like to where they're like in a daze.
Yeah.
Like I compared it to like when you stand up to flip the whole room moves.
That's pretty cool. So when he's fighting crime, he decides to, I don't know, does he like shoot it out of his head? Like, is it like a power that he like disrupts someone's cerebellum where they become so dizzy and fall over that they can't really do anything? They can't complete a task or an objective or anything like that. Okay, good, good, awesome. I like that one. How did he get that power? Did he bump his head again? Huh?
Yeah.
All right, bumping her head. All right, the last one. What do you have?
I have Emotion Girl.
Emotion Girl.
Yeah. It changes your mood in seconds, and it's the amygdala. And I said, if you're feeling sad, just wish upon Emotion Girl, and she will flip your mood in just a few seconds.
Look at that. Wow, that would be beneficial for some people, right? So is she almost like oh, forget her name now, from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like she just touches people's heads and she can like put them to sleep, make them unconscious, or see exactly what they're feeling. All right, and that's affected the amygdala, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. So she can control people's feelings. So obviously would rather help people out in these tough situations, especially if they're going through some hard times. But in some cases, let's say a villain or a bad guy, right? She can go up and make them cry or make them so depressed or make them actually think about their actions and feel remorse so that they can maybe stop it. I like that. Good job. Good job, Hannah. Good work. All right, Booker, what do we have here? Precognition Man. The hippocampus. All right, so like his present and past memories. Okay, all right. Now he can see in the future. Cool, cool. So he can see things happening. All right, cool. What else do you have? Superhero 2? Oh, nice, nice. X-ray woman. Cool, cool. So she goes along with the fire crew to see exactly where they're located in the house. Nice, nice. So how did she get that power? Just bumped her head, huh? I feel like everybody uses that. Oh, I bumped my head. So the occipital lobe affected there with X-ray woman, right? Okay, and she could see through buildings, walls, you name it. All right, nice. Eavesdropping Man. Is that what you said? Oh, nice. So cool. So cool. So his temporal lobe, he can hear people talking about maybe wrongdoing, or if he's just trying to be a creep, hear what people say about other things. Oh, just only for good, right? Okay. Okay. So he can hear people giving each other secrets about something that may occur or may happen. I like that. Nice job. Nice job. Is Campbell here today? Did you guys see her? No? No. I don't know. I didn't see her. Sarah won't be here today. So actually, let's read Sarah's superhero. I'll read it and see what we got going on. So Sarah, reminiscent man. Ho ho. The ability to reminisce on every mistake he's ever made with any given activity or event. So part of the brain, the hippocampus. So hero in action. In a supermarket, a thief approaches an innocent yet vulnerable old lady as she does her simply weekly shopping. He snatches her purse right from the shopping cart, and there's nothing she can do to stop him. He sprints away, having successfully stolen some cash and perhaps some 20-year-old candies. What? Oh my gosh. What? Oh, here comes Reminiscent Man, ready to save the day. As he selects the yogurt on the other side of the store, he accidentally drops the container and it makes a huge mess. He's embarrassed and in shock. He remembers a time he dropped his lunch tray in the second grade. The spaghetti from his plate got all over him, and the boys called him spaghetti legs for weeks. Wow, that's pretty funny. Sarah, I feel like that happened to you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Spaghetti from his plate got okay. Wait, with his memory, a violent panic attack ensues. He commences writhing on the ground and the yogurt in a seizure-like fashion. Just as the cops roll in, the thief is forced to reroute through the store. As he's looking behind him to ensure the officers won't catch him, he fails to realize the yogurt and man on the ground. Oh. He slips in the yogurt and trips over the man, leaving him susceptible to capture by the police. The purse is returned and the thief is arrested. Reminiscent Man saves the day again. Wow, that's a neat, unique story, huh? So she went in a roundabout way, and realistically, all he did was just remember the one time he dropped something, he fell on the ground, and he accidentally tripped up the thief. But he did good with it. He did good. That was pretty good. I like that. That was awesome. Natalie, I don't know where she's at. I thought she was here today. Maybe not. But listening Leo. Okay, superhero is able to hear anything that is said within a mile of where he's located. So which part of the brain structure has been altered? The temporal lobe. Okay, so obviously with auditory processing. So a short description or plot. Listening Leo was walking down the streets of New York City on the lookout for crime. Through multiple buildings, he was able to hear the scream of a lady who was being robbed. Because of this, he was able to get to the building and capture the robber before he was able to escape. So cool. Listening Leo. Let's do one more. Speaking Sam. This superhero is able to speak any language in the world, no matter where he is or if he has ever even heard of the language before. Okay, the brain structure altered. The Broca's area, located in the frontal lobe, has been altered at this part of the brain's control spoken language. Short description, Speaking Sam is a detective who works all over the world. He has begun to travel to remote islands and integrate suspects of a recent murder. Or interrogate, sorry. He is able to talk to all of them and get to the bottom of the story. He doesn't even need a translator, which makes this investigation go a lot quicker. Oh, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. All right, so that was pretty cool activity. What do you guys think? Yeah? Do you like making superheroes out of functions and parts of the brain? Okay, so we'll move on today. Today we're going to talk about the hemispheres of the brain. I usually have you read some sections about it, but in this case, we'll just move on so that you have some time, obviously, to gather up your notes, make sure your vocab's ready to roll. We do not have a test tomorrow. We're going to do the brain surgery, okay? And we'll do that brain surgery, so that'll be fun. All right, so real quick, I want to go through some notes with you, and I'll get you working on your activity, your short reading. That is out of the book. All right, so aphasia is really just damage to any several cortical areas that can cause any type of impaired use of language or maybe some sort of obviously problem or issue with visualizing something, hearing something. And aphasia is just really damage to the brain, a damage to any part of the brain that might cause an issue with the type of function, part of the brain that obviously helps us with these functions. So with memory loss, right? With maybe visualizing something. I know this something with the superheroes that everybody kind of depicted. Oh, he bumped his brain, he hit his head. Okay, he hit his head on the ground. That caused aphasia, which caused him to have some sort of superhuman ability. And aphasia is just really damage to any parts of the brain that might cause a delay or maybe a disruption or an inability to perform a task, objective, a function of what that brain part in the brain controls. So it might be with sensation. It might be a motor reflex. It might be something with visualizing something. Auditory processing. It might be receptive speech, understanding of what someone says. Maybe it's something with spoken language. Obviously, bumps to the brain might affect that. That's why with many boxers, fighters, football players, right, who take constant hit to the head, concussions, right, that might cause some sort of aphasia, which they might not be able to, or might have trouble speaking or understanding of what someone's saying. In some cases, to the extreme, not being able to hear or see things. And that does happen every now and then, right? That does happen every now and then. Even common cases of aphasia, like let's say with PTSD, someone that has went through a traumatic accident or incident where they obviously have reoccurring memories or some sort of experience that is constantly replaying in their mind, especially when they go to bed or when they're dreaming. Okay, and aphasia could be many different things. But it's really just any type of damage to some location with the brain that might cause an inability for it to perform its function. You guys good with aphasia? All right, so real quick, plasticity. So plasticity is just how our brain has the ability to modify itself after these damages. Some cases, it takes some sort of reorganization. In many cases, I'm sure you hear, or sure you heard of some examples and experience of people that might be blind. They might have heightened senses, right? They could be able to feel, touch certain things, and have the ability to obviously detect what those things are without their sight. Okay, I know with blind people especially that their other senses are heightened in a way. Same thing with people that might be deaf. Their visualization might be heightened, might be increased. I know with my aunt, she's deaf. Okay, she reads people's lips. That's how she understands what people are saying. Obviously, she knows sign language, but for the most part, she has really good visual understanding. She has a good occipital lobe. So because she lost her hearing, her other senses need to try to adapt in order to try to detect the world around her. And for her, she can definitely read people's lips. 'Cause I know for sure she caught me a couple times saying some things that I shouldn't have been saying. All right, so plasticity means the nervous system, especially the brain, has the ability to adapt or modify itself as a result of experience. Okay, so like I mentioned, in those certain cases, especially people that might not have the ability to see or hear things, their other senses become heightened, become increased, that they can perform these tasks and sense the world around them even without these senses. It's amazing how the brain can work. Now it does work. And I thought it was interesting watching that documentary, especially with some of these people that might not have communication skills, right? I know we visualized the Rain Man on here. We also saw the person that could that had this increased artistic ability. They couldn't really communicate with others. They didn't have the ability to communicate with others because of maybe a lack of brain function. But in other cases, their brain is performing at a level that really has never been seen before. That amazing, right? It's so amazing. I know there was a couple people had a great expansive memory, that they could remember certain dates, even the temperature, so, what the day was like. It was just amazing how that occurred and how that worked through aphasia. There's many different experiences of that, many different types of, as you say, examples. All right, you guys good with plasticity? It's just how our brain reorganizes after some sort of aphasia, how we try to rebuild, and certain tasks are heightened or increased depending on whatever damage may have been done. All right, we know the Broca's area, the Wernicke's area. So with the Broca's area, left frontal lobe, spoken language, okay, expressive language. And the Wernicke's area is the temporal lobe. It's controlling of receptive language. Okay, we went over that. That was on the quiz. Wait, did we have a quiz? Yeah, we had a quiz in here about the brain and its different functions. So real quick, what happens if we have any type of damage to the Broca's area? One in particular I think is interesting, all right, is how in some cases with boxers and especially with people that have high impacts to their brain, especially on the left frontal lobe where the Broca's area is located, they might have a difficult time trying to express themselves and communicate with others, to form sentences, and explain whatever scenario or example or experience that they might have. They might be able to think it, they might be able to feel it, but when it comes to spoken language, they have a difficulty. In some cases, aphasia occurs with that. I mean, obviously, some people might have a difficult time communicating with one another. And here's just a unique example here of foreign accent syndrome. So in some cases, which it's a weird phenomenon, some people wake up one day and they have an accent, or they can speak a language that they never spoken before. It's amazing how it happens. And some people are like, "Oh, quit playing." You somehow picked up a southern twang, right? A southern accent. But in some cases, they can't help it. And foreign accent syndrome is just this weird phenomenon where some people pick up an accent, or in some cases, actually speak a whole totally different language. A lot of times happens with aphasia. So, if, a car accident or any type of accident that has damage to the brain, some people pick up some sort of accent or speak a different language. I usually have a video to post with this. I'll attach it to the announcement. You can check it on your own. Does that work? I think it's really interesting. All right, real quick here, divided brains. This is what I wanted to talk about today, and especially with the video and the reading. You'll read a little bit more and understand about this divided brain, and maybe the left and right hemisphere, how they have different functions. If you're left brain, if you're right brain, okay, and how the corpus callosum all affects this. All right, so divided brains. In some cases, with people that have extreme epilepsy, seizures, right? The design practice to try to relieve the stress, to relieve these seizures, and try to limit them from happening for many people is to cut the corpus callosum. And what is the corpus callosum? Does anybody know? Booger, do you know what the corpus callosum is? No? Hannah, do you know? So this is really a set of nerve fibers that connect the left and right hemisphere together. It really just allows communication between the left and right hemisphere of the brain. So it's like a bridge in a way. Okay, it's located right at the top. It connects the parietal frontal lobe together. Kind of goes along pretty much the length of the brain. Okay, and this is really just nerve fibers that are interwoven together that allow communication between your left and right hemisphere. So in certain cases here, like I said, with people that have extreme seizures, epilepsy, they cut that corpus callosum. They actually go in and slice it, sever it right down the middle. Do you believe that, Hannah? Can you imagine a doctor, trusting a doctor to cut through your brain, right through the middle, to cut that corpus callosum to try to separate the communication between your left and right hemisphere? First off, how did they know that would work, right? How did they know that that would, happen? Obviously, we know with people that have some sort of seizures, maybe the left side of their body might be relaxed. They can't really control the muscles in the left side if it happens in the right hemisphere. Or if it happens in the left hemisphere, because we know these nerve fibers are connected to different parts, left and right hemisphere, they pretty much they stretch out to different angles and different parts. So left side of your body controlled by the right hemisphere. The right side of your body controlled by the left hemisphere of your brain. It's interesting how it works. So to try to relieve these people of seizures, they cut the corpus callosum, that bridge, that connection between the two hemispheres. And it actually does work, right? It does work. So people actually do see a regression or even no seizures after this type of brain surgery. It's amazing. But some things do happen which cause an issue. One of the biggest things is we know that the Broca's area is located on the left frontal lobe, right? The left part of the frontal lobe. And that means expressive language might be a little bit different from what they actually visualize, these people. So they actually perform a test on these people that have split brain procedures, divided brains. And it's interesting how it works. So they put a screen up and they show two words. Well, it's supposed to be like one word, it's supposed to be heart, but on the left side it has he and the other side it has art. It's interesting because they look at the center of that line of that word. And they say, hey, what word did you see? And the lady says art. Okay, right? You only saw one, right? You only saw one part of the word. You only saw art. And then they ask the lady here in this certain scenario here, point with your left hand to the word you saw. And she points at he. What? Wait a minute. How does that even work? How does that even work? But our left side of the brain is focused with receptive language. Okay, with spoken language, the Broca's area on the frontal lobe. So when she visualizes it, the only thing her brain, or left side of her brain, visualizes that she can speak, okay, that she can actually pronounce, is the right side of that screen. Okay, but when she visualizes it, where it's actually processed in her brain, what she's seen, she points at he. All right, I'll show you a video here soon. They actually do the same thing with a person. They actually have him draw out these different things and actually say what he's seen. So they put up a screen. It might be a saw on one side and a screwdriver. So with his left side of his brain, his Broca's area, he says, hey, what did you see? Well, on the right side, I saw a screwdriver. And then the scientist, the person performing the test will say, hey, draw out what you saw. So he draws out a saw. And then the psychologist is like, wait a minute. You said you saw a screwdriver. Why did you draw out a saw? And he's just like, I don't know. It's just amazing how it works. Once you divide the connection between the two hemispheres, it's really difficult for them to pronounce and actually pick out what they actually observed and saw. Michaela? No, it's just by the corpus callosum. They can visualize the object, they can speak the object, but when it comes to putting it together, when it comes to actually expressing what they saw, especially when it's a divided screen like that, they can't do it. They can't. Because the left side of the brain's focused on spoken language. When they ask him to perform, hey, what did you see? The spoken language is like, oh, well, I saw a screwdriver. It's like, okay, well, draw out what you saw. And on the left side of the picture, because it's processed in the right hemisphere and it's divided, he draws out a saw and it's like, oh, you said you saw a screwdriver. Why did you draw a saw? He's just like, I don't know. I shouldn't laugh about it, but it's kind of funny the way he's just like, what? He's like, so out of it. Here's just an example here, right? So the split brain procedure, after that corpus callosum is sliced right down the middle to try to prevent these seizures, epilepsy. Here's an example. Ring, key. I ask him, hey, what did you see here? What do you see? Oh, I see a ring. Okay, because the prefrontal and the Broca's areas in that frontal lobe. And they ask him, hey, well, pick up what you saw and what you said. Well, he picks up the key because when it comes to connecting the left side of your body to the right side of your brain, he picks up the key. He just kind of is what it is, right? He said, well, pick up what you saw. Well, I saw a key. I'm going to pick it up. It's processed on the right side. But when they ask him to speak it, he says ring because that's what he sees on this side of the brain. All right, so the myth of two brains. Many people say, oh, your left side of your brain is more focused with with reasoning, critical thinking, writing skills. And the right side of your brain is more artistic, creative ability. I mean, it is what there's many different functions the right and left side of the brain controls and what people believe that it controls, but realistically, it's a myth, right? It's a myth. There's a lot of different things that the brain controls, and it's not just focused mostly predominantly in the left or right hemisphere. But in some cases, when you look at an MRI scan, when you're performing a task, let's say drawing or trying to copy an image on paper, they'll see a lot of activity in the right hemisphere. When it comes to writing an assignment, let's say you're writing a paper out. Okay, when they're doing a test, doing a study, a lot of the activities focus on the left hemisphere of the brain. That's why they say, oh, the left, right hemisphere. Well, you're mostly left brained, or you're mostly right brained if you're good at art, or if you're good at seeing pictures and understanding pictures. Does that make sense, guys? All right. All right, there's just a test here just to see how, obviously, you can visualize different pictures of emotions and detecting depending on what face you're looking at. I know it doesn't look right here. And on one side, it looks like he's smiling. The other side, it looks like he's frowning. And it's interesting how our brain can maybe play tricks on us depending on what picture we're looking at, what side of the face we're focusing on. All right, so I'm going to play this video real quick. I think you guys will enjoy it. And then I'll let you guys work on your activity. So real quick, for those of you at home, the activity is posted here on the assignment. Okay, one person, two brains on page 169 of the books. It shouldn't take you too long to do. All right, see you.